In the oceans of Dota 2, there dwells a race of humanoids that can breathe underwater. There are likely many civilizations and countless subraces among them. Today we will talk about the Meranths, aka mermaids. Let's start by talking about their culture as a whole, and then each hero one by one. To the people from above the surface, the people of under the seas are known as Meranths, and to the Meranths, everyone from above the surface are known as drylanders. Within the term Meranth, we have the races Levianths, Mers, and Slytherin. The inhabitants of Cray are mostly Slytherins. Within the Slytherin race, we have the subrace Nagas, which may be related to the Gorgons. The hero Naga Siren is a Naga, and the hero Medusa is a Gorgon. Some Slytherins sometimes gather in the grottos of Cray to partake in blood sports, but Nagas are a race of higher culture and are known for their beautiful snake-like monuments in the Naga cities. A few notable Slytherins are Naga Siren, Slark, and Slardar. Slardar is not a Naga, he is another type of Slytherin. Slark might be only half Slytherin and the other half Levianth. Levianths are a race of Meranths with 2 feet and fishy heads who live in the shallow recluse reef, unlike the Slytherin who typically have a snake-yellow body with no typical humanoid legs, and deep-water fish-like lures, and live in the depths of the dark reef. The hero Tidehunter is one such Levianth. Meranths is a god worshipped by the Levianths, and might be the very god of the oceans. He lives in a gigantic whirlpool, perhaps in the ocean depths, perhaps not in this plane. He is described as he who cracked the world, which might suggest he split the land and created the seas. In many ways, Meranths seems to have a lot in common with Cthulhu, an enormous, frightening, tentacled beast. Mer are half fish, half human, and are unfortunately looked down upon by not only humans, but also other Meranths. Mers are found in both Cray and Shadeshore. The hero Sven has a Meranth mother and human father, making him half drylander and half Meranth. It's likely that because of this reason, he wears a mask to hide his fishy features. Sven is from Shadeshore, more specifically the Shadeshore ruins. The inland parts of Shadeshore is inhabited by drylanders, and the waters and beaches by Meranths. Shadeshore is also the home of Slark, after he escaped the Dark Reef prison. He lives in the southern parts of Shadeshore, likely hiding near the dangerous carnivorous mangroves. Beyond the frozen crag in the north you find the Odobenes crypt. Through the crypt you can find a secret passage to the reef's edge, a shallow part of Dark Reef, which is where most of the sunken cities of Cray is found. Dargos, Amobites, and Umizars guard the shallows of the Dark Reef. The Grottos of Dark Reef is the location of Cray and the sunken cities. While not advised because of the dangers of the deep, if you continue from the reef's edge you find the Shoal, another place in the shallows around Dark Reef. Here you find the sunken passage, which leads you into one of the Cray grottos, the Dark Reef prison. Here the worst criminals of the sea are kept. Galvanet Gaolers and Slytherins guard the prison. Animals found in the Dark Reef prison include reef-bottom ravagers, eels, enormous anemones, glowconches, daggerfish, furry fish, octopi, and terrifying meat-eating guttle slugs who are the size of a Slytherin and devour dead prisoners. The Coral Breach is another location in Cray, and there we find the Deep Vault where the treasures of the deep are hidden. Sea dragons, a hunted dragon race, reside in the black waters, and a hybrid between sea dragons and ice worms called azure dragons are found in the Dark Reef and the frostbite tundra. Cray is the location of all the sunken cities of the Dark Reef grottos and the depths of the black waters. This is a hotspot for Slytherin. The most notable places are Dark Reef Prison and the Deep Vault. Dark Reef Prison is located near a Naga settlement in a deep ocean trench. The trench is covered by a metallic grid, and the inside of the prison is described as a labyrinth. Explosives, hostile wildlife, and guards keep up the security, and several shipwrecks lie around the entrance in the shallows. The prison is ruthless, and only the toughest bad boys survive, one of which is Slark, who did not only survive, but he also managed to escape. He was part of the Dark Reef Dozen, a group of prisoners who together tried to escape. 10 of them died, 2 were recaptured and executed, and only one hidden 13th actually managed to escape, the only one ever to do so. That was Slark. Slark also claims that one day Dark Reef will rise, but it's unknown what exactly this means. It might be connected to a brewing new possible conflicts between the Drylanders and the Meranth if Silkbreaker was to escape. In Underlords it seems like Dark Reef is doing smuggling business with Joe, which suggests that maybe it's not just a prison but also maybe an entire city of itself. The second notable place in Cray is the Deep Vault. It's defended by the Slytherin Guard, a Slytherin military faction. Deep Vault is located in Coral Breach, an ocean canyon at the southern end of Dark Reef. Within the Slytherin Guard is a special force called the Deep Ones, who only guard the treasure, and the Highsworn, who are the elite members of the Slytherin Guard. They follow a strict oath about their obligations. Notable members of the Slytherin Guard are the hero Slardar and Naga Siren, who was a Highsworn. Naga Siren was banished after a chalice was stolen from Deep Vault, which is why she can't return until she reclaims it. The peace between Drylanders and Meranths is upheld by the Conclave of the Brine, a faction of Mer who are half man, half fish. Because they are half human, it's suspected that their human greed makes them care about power more than actually keeping peace though. Compared to other Dota 2 races, Meranths don't appear to be of higher intelligence than others. In fact, some heroes like Tidehunter may drag them down a little bit. I have decided to place them here. So, we have talked about the culture of the Meranths, now let's go through each Meranth one by one. There's 5 heroes in total: Sven, naga, siren, slark, slardar, and tidehunter. Sven the Rogue Knight is the bastard son of a Vigil Knight, born of a pallid Meranth, raised in the Shadeshore ruins. With his father executed for violating the Vigil Codex and his mother shunned by her wild race, Sven believes that honor is to be found in no social order, but only in himself. After tending his mother through a lingering death, he offered himself as a novice to the Vigil Knights, never revealing his identity. For 13 years he studied in his father's school, mastering the rigid code that declared his existence an abomination. Then, on the day that should have been his inswearing, he seized the outcast blade, shattered the sacred helm, and burned the codex in the Vigil's holy flame. He strode from Vigil Keep, forever solitary, following his private code to the last strict rule. Still a knight, yes, but a rogue knight. He answers only to himself. Among the high sworn of the Slytherin Guard there is a solemn vow oft repeated before battle. No Slytherin may fail. In truth, these worlds are equal parts oath and enforceable covenant, for those who fall short of their duty are banished from the order. To fail is to be other than Slytherin. Once most highly esteemed of her race, Slithis the Naga Siren for many years commanded a battalion of her fellows, using her formidable voice as her greatest weapon. Powerful, sinuous, serpentine, she led her deadly guard in defense of the Deep Ones and the great wealth of the sunken cities. But in the final battle of Cray, her forces were driven back by a marauding army of Levianths intent on fighting tribute for their god Meilran. After a long and bloody onslaught, as the bodies were cleared from the sunken halls, a single jeweled chalice was found missing from the trove. Of her 100 guard, only a handful survived, but their bravery and sacrifice were of little consequence. What mattered was that the treasure was taken. Honor destroyed, and so Naga Siren was cast out, banished to search for the stolen chalice. Though she might add 100 times her weight to the golden trove, she is doomed to live apart until the day she returns that which was taken, for no amount of gold is equal in honor to the honor she lost. Medusa might be related to the Naga, since the Gorgons are born from a sea goddess and they have similar serpent-like designs as the Naga cities. Just a quick little side note. Slardar the Slytherin Guard is a Slytherin, one of the Deep Ones, guardian of a vast network of sunken cities and the ancient riches buried within them. In the lightless gulf of the deepest ocean abysses, the Slytherin Guard patrols secret treasure rooms, ever vigilant against the subaqueous thieves sent into the depths by covetous dryland sorcerers. He is utterly loyal, and his taciturn nature hides deep knowledge of the most secret places of the sea. He rises to the shallows in spite of the pain caused him by brightness, to commit reconnaissance to make sure no one is conspiring against the depths, and sometimes in relentless pursuit of the rare few who manage to steal off an item from the sunken treasury. Because he has spent his whole life at great pressure, under tremendous weight from the sea, Slardar the Slytherin Guard is a creature of immense power. Little known to the inhabitants of the dry world, Dark Reef is a sunken prison where the worst of the sea breed are sent for crimes against their fellows. It is a razor-barred warren full of murderous Slytherin, treacherous Deep Ones, and sociopathic Meranths. In this dim labyrinth, patrolled by eels and guarded by enormous anemones, only the vicious survive. Pitched into Dark Reef for crimes unknown, Slark the Nightcrawler spent half a lifetime without kin or kindness, trusting no one, surviving through a combination of stealth and ruthlessness, keeping his thoughts and his plans to himself. When the infamous Dark Reef Dozen plotted their ill-fated breakout, they kept their plans a perfect secret, murdering anyone who could have put the pieces together, but somehow Slark discovered their scheme and made a place for himself in it. 10 of the dozen died in the escape attempt, and 2 were captured, hauled back to the Dark Reef, then executed for the entertainment of their fellow inmates. But Slark, the unsung 13th, used the commotion as cover and slipped away, never to be caught. Now a furtive resident of the carnivorous mangrove scrub that grips the southern reach of Shadeshore, Slark remains the only successful escapee from Dark Reef. The tidehunter known as Leviathan was once the champion of the Sunken Isles, but his motives are as mysterious as those of his people. We all know the importance of the Drylanders' shipping lanes, how empires may rise and fall according to who controls the open water. Far less is known about the submarine lanes and how the warring tribes of the Meranthic diaspora have carved out habitations through endless undersea skirmishes. In the fragile treaties between the Mer and Man, we can glimpse the extent of the drowned empires, but their politics appear complex and opaque. It would seem that Leviathan tired of such petty strife and set off on his own, loyal only to his abyssal god, Melron the Tentacular. He stalks the shallows now in search of men and Meranths who stay in his path, and with a particular loathing for Admiral Kunkka, who has long been his nemesis for reasons lost in the deepest trenches of the sea. So that's it for today's lore video. Let me know in the comments which one you want to see next in Dota 2 hero lore: Sven, Naga Siren, Slardar, Slark, or Tide. Until then, thank you so much for watching, and peace. Notable members of the he lives in a gigantic whirlpool